Hello, followers of Camisa 23. My name is Vítor Buratini, and today I'm here with an extremely special guest, Rick Barry, the legend of NBA and NBA. How are you, Rick? How are you feeling today?
Well, I tell everybody if I was doing any better, I'd be making a comeback in the NBA.
Well, I'm sure that every fan would love to see it. Well, you are one of the greatest players that ever stepped the foot in the court. So I'm very happy to have you here. This year we already talked with Spencer Haywood. So like you two are legends and are part of
And
the.
both wear number 24 when we played.
Yes, I'm blessed number. So to start here our conversation, you started your career with the San Francisco Warriors, and you spent 2 seasons with them before you joined the ABA. So in these first 2 seasons, the first one, Rookie of the Year, and the second one, scoring champion, went to the NBA Finals, like had 40 points per game of average. So how was it like to go from the college level to the professional level? How do you adapt so quickly to this change?
Well, for me, I was very fortunate because in college I played for a coach who was a former NBA pro player, and we played a pro style offense. I couldn't play as a freshman back then. You couldn't play varsity. But in my last year at Miami, 1964-65 season, without the three-point shot, our team averaged 98 points a game.
Wow.
So that's pretty remarkable. I mean, nobody comes even close to that these days. So I was trained to play the style of basketball that they play in the NBA. And that's one of the reasons why you said my rookie year, I made, rookie of the year. No, actually my rookie year, more important than that, I was picked as first team all pro. That didn't happen very often. That as a rookie, you make the first team all pro. And the reason I was able to do that is because of the training that I had at Miami with my coach, because I was ready to play NBA style basketball. In fact, to be honest with you, it was easier for me to play in the NBA than it was in college. In college, every team we played against, the defense was completely focused on trying to stop me from scoring. In the pros, I had one guy guarding me. Okay. I said, wow, this is unbelievable. I only have to worry about this one guy and then, worry about a center if I drove to the basket. So it really was a lot easier for me in the pros to be able to score easily. And so I did that. And then my second year, I, got MVP of the All-Star game and averaged over 35 points a game and led the league in scoring because it was an easy thing for me to do. I had great teammates and I knew how to play the game the right way. I was a scorer, not a shooter. And there's a big difference between the two.
How was this transition you made to the ABA? Because after these 2 years in the NBA, the first two strong years, you went to the ABA. You were like the first, how can I say, famous player to go to the NBA from the ABA, and it was common to see the opposite. But what were the main differences between these two leagues, and why you decided to join the ABA when you were very good at the NBA?
Well, I really didn't want to leave. It's just that basketball always been fun for me, and I had 2 great years. I led the league in scoring. I was one of the top free throw shooters. I was All-Star MVP, and we came within 2 pick and roll plays of winning the championship. And I didn't really have a whole lot of fun because Bill Sharman, God rest his soul, really nice person, and man, he was not easy to play for because we hardly ever had a day off. And I know it sounds silly, but he made it like a job. Basketball never was a job for me. It was my love, it was my passion. And he made it more like a job. And so I had a chance to possibly go to play then for my college coach who became my father-in-law. I married his daughter. And so I looked at the opportunity to do that. I didn't go for the money. I didn't play one side against the other, but I felt I still owed the Warriors something because they were really good to me for those 2 years. And so I told Pat Boone, who was one of the owners of the ABA team, the Oakland Oaks, I said, look, here's the deal. Give me your best offer. I'm going to go back to the Warriors. And if the Warriors offer me anything close to what you're offering me, I'm going to stay. And as it turned out, the Warriors miscalculated. They didn't give me the offer that they told the press that they gave me. They lowballed me. And so they opened up the door for me to have the opportunity to leave. And so that's why I did it. Now, With that being said, everything in life happens for a reason. Had that not happened, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have the amazing wife, the amazing young son I have. But if I could have all of that still now, and I could go back there and change having left, I wouldn't have left.
You would have stayed with the Warriors.
I would have stayed with the Warriors. I mean, the ABA was such a bush league. I mean, the stuff I went through and I had to deal with and all was just ridiculous. And if I could do it over again, I definitely wouldn't leave, but only because, you know, I like to talk about Star Trek, the space-time continuum gets messed up. I would not want to go back and not leave and not have met the people I've met and have the people in my life that I have now, which only happened because I left.
Yes.
I mean, that's what life is about. So yeah, so that's basically it. But contrary to what the media portrayed me as, I didn't play one side against the other. I wasn't some money hungry person. I always honored every contract I ever had. And they were just mad at me because here I was, this new phenom coming in out of college, making all pro 2 years in a row, leading the league in scoring, MVP of the All-Star game, and I left.
Yes.
They weren't happy.
Can you mention one of the stuff you went through in the ABA that you didn't like? Because, you know, when I read about the ABA, it seems like it wasn't a great league, but you didn't have.
Well, they had a lot of great players, and it was a fun up and down, shoot them, you know, shoot the 3-point shot, red, white, and blue ball. I mean, but they didn't have. Played in a lot of cities, didn't have great arenas. Well, back then the NBA didn't have great arenas either. We didn't have a great arena in San Francisco. We played in the Cow Palace and we played at Civic Auditorium, and it was a whole different world back then. So yeah, it was, you know, it just was Bush League. I mean, seriously, it really was. I mean, the craziness that went on, the fights that took place. I mean, the All-Star game, one of the All-Star games, the owner of a team and the coach got into a fight. I mean, it's just crazy stuff. It was just crazy.
Yes, it seems unprofessional, right? Like the NBA was more built to last than the ABA.
Yeah, but the NBA also wasn't very great back then either. I mean, you know, they had 2-for-1 promotional nights. I mean, just think about it. 1975, when we won the championship, our finals are on delayed television.
Yeah,
it wasn't even live. I mean, this is one of the major sports in the country, and it wasn't even live on television. So it's a totally different world that exists today in the NBA than what existed back in those days. And you know, and I'm quite familiar with, you know, Brazil with my wife, who ran women's basketball for the United States. So I'm quite familiar with Oscar and some of the other players, and you know, the female players, because my wife ran USA basketball for women, and so Hortensia I mean, so I know a lot about you know, Brazilian basketball. In fact, I couldn't even believe it when they went up in Indianapolis. I was there with my wife because she was there running the women's program for the going for the gold medal for the games that they had. We have a draw like a senior moment for when they had the South American games. What's that called? Yeah. It's
Pan American
Games, right? So the Pan American Games. Thank you. And I'm saying, how in the world, if I was coaching the team, I would tell my guys, said, look, you're guarding Oscar. You never leave him. Okay, you guard him. I don't care what happens. I don't care who's driving to the basket. You never leave Oscar. You keep the ball out of his hands as much as you can. And what happens? They're leaving him. They're going to do help defense. They're kicking it out, and Oscar's dropping it in those three. He's just killing them. And so I have a lot of memories about that. And plus, I love Brazil. I'm heading to Brazil at the end of this month to go back again. I'm going to go to Manaus. I'm going fishing in the Amazon for peacock bass.
Whoa, that's so nice to hear, Rick. If you pass by São Paulo, you know, I'm
just going to Manaus. I go to Manaus and then we fly out to the middle of nowhere, and I'll be out there for a week or so doing stuff, fishing for peacock bass with fly rods. And so I'm really looking forward to that. I had gone once before, but I didn't get to do much fly fishing, so I'm more of a fly fisherman. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that for sure.
So after a few years in the ABA, you came back to the NBA to play for the San Francisco Warriors. If I'm not wrong, it was like a judge that made you play for the obligated.
No, actually, I just honored every contract I had. Before I left the Warriors, I signed a deal that said if I was legally able to do so, I would go back and play for the Warriors. So the court case and everything never got resolved. The judge got sick and all. And so I honored every contract I had. And then when I went back to New York, and I was back in New York playing for the Nets, I was kind of happy back there. And then, but what happened is that I had that contract, the original contract was now over. And so I still had another year or something left on the contract that said if I was legally able, I would go back. So I basically honored the contract I had to go back to the Warriors because I always honored my contracts. And then I said to him, I said, look, if I'm going to come back, though, I said, I don't want to come back and just have a 1-year contract. God only knows what's going to happen. Can I just get a longer contract, which I did. And so I went back and played for them. And like I say, everything in life happens for a reason. And then fortunately, we wound up pulling off the greatest upset in the history of major sports in the United States. I mean, there's never been as big an upset as us winning the championship in the NBA in 1975. There's never been a team that wasn't even supposed to be a playoff team, not only get to the finals in any of the major sports, but wind up sweeping the team that we were supposed to get swept by. Yeah. So it was pretty dramatic and pretty special. And, that was the best thing about that I got a chance to finally be on an NBA championship team.
And talk about more how you modeled your game in your second stint with the Warriors, because you were, I read that you were the first point forward in NBA history. How was it? How was this second stint? How was your game in that period?
Well, I was always a player. When I got a rebound, I would not just I would throw it out if somebody was open, but I would take it and dribble it out and bring it up the floor. I mean, I did that all the time, even in college. And so I was really the first point forward. In fact, if I was able to start my career over again and do it, I'd be a point guard. Really? I was quicker than most guards.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd have races and do stuff, and I would beat the guards. I was at my size. They hadn't seen a guy my size who was 6'8" with my basketball shoes on, who could run as fast as I could. I was both quick and fast. And I could see the floor and do things, and everybody talked my ball handling. Back in those days, it wasn't fancy ball handling. I mean, I did righty, lefty crossover. That's it, not through the legs and all the other stuff they do. But in fact, if I were playing the game today, that's the one area of the game I would have to be better. I'd have to be a better ball handler. And they talked about my ball handling back then, but I would definitely be a better ball handler. That's easy. You get in the gym and you practice all the drills and you get to be better. But I had what you can't teach, was I had great vision. I mean, I could really see the floor. I could understand and I have a great feel for the game, which can't be taught. You either have it or you don't. So if I could go back, and if I was going to go back and play again, I would definitely play point guard. Why? Because I did a little bit of that as a forward, because I would control the destiny of my team. I have the destiny of my team in my hand. When I have the ball, I am such an important asset for my team, because I'm the one that's going to create opportunities for myself and my teammates. And I really honestly can say I got more enjoyment out of making a really good pass to a teammate for a basket than I ever did scoring myself. In fact, I'm very proud of this fact. I think I still have it. I think I still have the record for the most assists by a small forward in the NBA. I had 19 assists in one game. It was in Chicago. Whoa. And I joke about it because I say, well, if I had 19 and we were playing in Chicago, I probably had over 20, because I know they screwed me out of a couple back there.
They didn't want you to be that good, right?
Well, they're never going to take care of the visiting team and everything. So if they gave me 19, pretty darn sure that I might have had more than that.
About your NBA Finals experience, I would like to dig into it a little more, about the first one when you were in your second year in the NBA. You guys lost in 7 games, right? And
six games.
Six games. And you were like the best player in the series. You almost scored 41 points per game. How was that first experience in the NBA Finals when you were so young? And how did you recover from the bad loss you got? The loss you guys had, not bad, but a loss is always, it's never nice.
Losing sucks. Okay, so let's get that out of
the
yeah. And so, but the thing is I actually learned a lot. I wish I could have been healthy. I mean, I just try to think of what I might have been able to do in that series if I had been healthy. I had a really, really badly sprained ankle. I don't know if people understand and realize that. I did all of that with an ankle. Now today they wouldn't have let me play. I was getting shot up to numb my ankle, and I played that whole series getting numbed. Okay, I mean, I didn't get to practice. I couldn't practice in between games because My ankle was so sore and so bad. I mean, it was nuts that I played. It's crazy that they even let me play, but I wanted to play. And so I was able to do all of that with an ankle that should never have been played on. So yeah, that was pretty remarkable. I'm just lucky I didn't ruin my career by hurting
Yeah.
myself to the point that I would never been able to play again. So I was very lucky. But I also learned that you can't allow yourself to get so emotionally involved, because that drains your energy. If you get so wrapped up and emotional about wanting to play and do something, you're sapping your own energy. So you have to learn to deal with it on a much more controlled basis. And so that really helped me when I went to the finals again, finally got back there in 75. And so I think that experience that I had in that first championship series really benefited me.
It was good for your mental, like you learned a lot from the experience of losing.
Well, you're supposed to learn every time you put your uniform on, you go out in the court. It should be a learning experience. That's the thing, is that you never know everything. I mean, you should
Yeah.
always be trying to improve. I mean, hell, I was the best free throw shooter in the league, and I changed my free throw. I mean, it reminded me what Tiger Woods did, when the greatest golfer in the world, and he changed his swing like 2 or 3 times. Why? To try to get better. So you should always be trying to get better. And I was a better free throw shooter at the end of my career than I was at the beginning, because I worked on it and I changed some technique and all to help myself get better. And I always I was striving to get better every single season.
And like as you said, you always want to be better. So when you go to your second NBA finals, you like play great again and you won this time. How was that series? What can you say about the locker room in the Warriors in that finals? Like what was it like that whole season when you guys won the championship and you won finals MVP?
Well, it was like a fantasy story. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, like I say, it's the biggest upset in the history of the league and in major sports in our country. And we were more like a college team, I think, than a pro team. I mean, everybody pulled for one another. Everybody was cheering for one another. We didn't care. A guy, if he played 2 minutes or 20 minutes, he still was going to play as hard. He was still going to cheer and root. And it was just a great experience to be a part of that, and to have such good teammates, because you don't win championships by yourself. You win as a team.
Yeah.
And we really, I think, epitomized what a team should be all about, which is a total commitment to defense. And you take your ego and you put your ego in the closet, because it's no longer about you. It's about the team. And what can I do to help make us a better team? And everybody was willing to do that. And that's why we had the success that we had.
And like you already said, you sweep the Washington Bullets 4-0. Did you in any way expect that?
No, of course not. I thought we could beat them.
Yeah.
I mean, they were very overconfident. Biggest mismatch in the history of the NBA Finals. I think we won one game. 2 of the games against them that we played, I don't know. I know for sure one of the games I probably shouldn't have played. I was hurt. And so they're all talking about Mike Reardon can guard me and hold me down. I mean, Mike Reardon is shorter than I am, and I'm faster than he is. So that was never going to happen. And so I think they got overconfident, even by the fact that there was a arena problem for us. And so usually it was going to be 2 there, 2 at our place, and then 1-1-1. They were willing to play the first game there, then come back to our place for 2 before we went back to their place, because they were so confident in themselves that they would, oh yeah, fine, we'll do that. We'll win the first game. Then we'll go back to their place and we'll beat them. Probably they expected to be sweeping. They expect worst case scenario, they'll win 1 of the 2 games. And well, when they lost that first game, everything changed for them. And then when they lost the second game, then, so it really got to the point that they were desperate. And so it was kind of cool to be able to do that, to be able to beat that team the way that we beat them. But we did it as a team. That's the big thing. You win as a team. You don't win as an individual in a team sport.
But you were the finals MVP. So how did you felt like that was that your best stretch as a player? That 4 games?
Well, I had a terrific year that year, but I think individually, I mean, it was my second year when we lost in 6 games to Philadelphia. I mean, I was younger and faster and could do a lot of different things. I had hurt my knee, after the first one when I went to the ABA. I got hurt, and I had a knee that was maybe 70% of what it should have been for the rest of my career. So it could have been very interesting to see what I might have been able to do in my career if I was 100% healthy all the time, but that wasn't the case, and it still worked out pretty well. And yeah, it was everything. It's always great. Life is a series of experiences, and playing basketball, you have an experience every time you put your uniform on. So the whole thing about it, if you're playing sports, is to try to be consistent. You don't want to be a player that gets 21 night and 6 the next night, and then 18, and then 4, and then 30, and then you want to be somebody that really is consistent. And I think that's what I always strive for. I was always pretty darn consistent. In fact, I think my teammate Jeff Mullins always said it best. He said the one thing about Rick, he said that if Rick had a bad game, you could pretty much put your money on the line that he wasn't going to have a second bad game, right after the first one. So, yeah.
And you are like a Warriors legend. How was your relationship with the franchise? Like, you had your jersey retired, and you are one of the greatest legends of the franchise, and that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly nice to have been recognized, and for them to have retired my jersey. That was an emotional time for me. I still remember that. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to have gotten involved more, but that's not been the case. I would have been happy to do that. I would have loved to be able to have a chance to coach the team, to be honest with you, or if nothing else, to be somebody to come in and work with some of the players. But that's never been an opportunity for me to do that. So they don't owe me anything by any stretch of the imagination, but it certainly, would have been nice. They call me occasionally to do certain things for them, but it's not as if I have a real symbiotic, great working relationship with them, where a lot of other players are hired by the teams to do a lot of other things for them. And that's not been the case with the Warriors, but I'm just happy for the fans that they've had this incredible run by this current Warriors team over this last decade or so. It's been remarkable what they've done. They've been so much fun to watch, and they've got two of the greatest shooters ever, and Steph Curry is just such a special player. I love watching him play. My favorite player to watch, because he just has so much fun while he's playing, and there's never been anybody shoot the basketball like him. Klay Thompson's pretty remarkable, but he's not Steph Curry.
Yeah, it's clear when you watch Curry that he's happy he's on the court, right? And
oh yeah, he loves it. Just like I love playing. I might not have looked, but I love playing. Absolutely love playing basketball.
Yeah, and can you mention your top 3 moments with the Golden State Warriors? Like, can you rank them?
Well, winning the championship, and that's the only thing that I cared about, was trying to win. So that's the most rewarding thing about that and the friends I still have. In fact, I was on talking earlier today with my dear friend Clifford Ray, our starting center, who's like a brother to me. So we do a lot of fishing together, and we're very, very close. And those are the things that are the most meaningful. But there isn't, as far as the top 3. No, I mean, if you don't win, then winning is what it's about, So yeah. Winning the championship. Other than that, individual things I did, probably my 19 assists that I had in one game, which, that's kind of cool that I was able to do that. The free throws things, because I think it's the only part of the game you can be selfish and help your team. And so I brag about my free throw shooting, which is pretty damn good. And then the other one is I got 25 rebounds, my highest total in one game, but it was against Wilt Chamberlain and the great 76er team at 7. So that was pretty cool. I was pretty proud of that.
Grabbing 25 rebounds against Wilt is like grabbing 50 against another center, right?
Well, anything you could do against Wilt. Was like, I can't even believe that some people actually pick stuff. They don't pick Wilt Chamberlain as the greatest center. I mean, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I mean, if you want to talk about somebody who had the biggest impact on their team winning, certainly it's Bill Russell. But as far as overall greatness and all the things, this guy did things that nobody will ever do. I mean, for anybody, I saw some people picked some different teams and he wasn't even picked. I said, this person must be on drugs or something. They have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, like Wilt owes like almost every impossible record is from him, like unbeatable.
Well, offensively, yeah. I mean, come on, 50 points a game is just that's almost obscene. I mean, I just say, okay, wait a second. I would have to score 13 or 14 more points in 80 something games during the regular season. Most players can't even average 13 points a game. Let alone score 13 more than the 36 or 7 I was already scoring. I mean, that's just crazy. It's almost, I mean, it's almost beyond comprehension. that he was able to do that and be such a dominant force. I mean, it's crazy. And then people don't have any idea. I mean, his career average, everybody says, oh, this guy's a good rebounder. And they talk about Dennis Rodman and this player, that player. Wilt Chamberlain averaged 22.5 rebounds a game for his career.
And like
Did you ever
30
see
points.
anybody in modern time and how many decades has ever even got 20 rebounds in one season, let alone for a career?
No.
Yeah, crazy.
You mentioned your free throw technique, your free throwing show technique, the underhand free throw, right? How did you start training it? And why do you think players prefer not to shoot in that way, even if it was so effective with you?
Well, my father was a semi-pro player and coach. He's the one that got me to do it. Thank goodness he was relentless. I didn't want to do it because girls shot that way back in those days. And so I gave it a sincere effort and worked at it one summer when I was in high school. And I said, wow, this is really pretty good. And so I made the switch. I mean, I didn't care about what anybody's going to say. And my father said, son, just remember, they can't make fun of you if you're making them.
Yeah.
I always remember that. I always remember that. And I don't understand why players today wouldn't want to try it. I mean, guys that are shooting 40, 50, 60%, I mean, that's embarrassing. So why would you not try anything? But the thing that probably is the most perplexing to me of all, and that makes no sense, is why in the world the teams don't make the players do it. I mean, how does a player who is an employee tell his boss, I'm not going to do that?
Right.
I mean, seriously, you're working, you're doing stuff, you're working at your job, and your boss tells you, you got to go do this. And you say, no, I'm not going to do that. You don't have a job anymore. They'll fire you.
Like, for me, it's important to do whatever it takes to make your team better. So, like, I don't like the selfishness by the players. Like, they are ashamed of doing it. I don't know why. It doesn't have a problem. You were one of the greatest free throw shooting ever, and it was with the underhand.
I actually think I was the best free throw shooter ever, because my last 6 years when I changed my technique, I shot over 92%, and nobody shot over 92% for any one season, I don't think yet. And if I had shot that way earlier in my career, when I was shooting over 10 free throws a game, my numbers would have been off the freaking charts, because I shot 94.7 in my last 2 years.
Whoa.
And I was only taking 2 or 3 shots a game because I was on the Rockets. I wasn't an integral part of the offense. I was willing to take a subservient role. And it's harder to shoot that high a percentage when you're only shooting a few free throws a game, because if I miss a free throw in a game, I've got to go weeks without missing anything to get it back up to like 90. I shot 94.7 average my last 2 seasons. 94.7 was my best. And so as I say, I'll brag about it, because it's the only part of the game that you can help your team and be selfish.
Yeah, I understand. So you have four children that are former basketball players. No, I will get to the fifth one. 4 that are former, and the fifth one that it's canon, that is still active. Like,
oh yeah, that's true. You're right. You got him. Sorry about that. Yeah, he's still active. He just got done playing in the Americup in the 3x3 FIBA, representing the USA, and they won the gold medal. He was MVP of the tournament down in Miami a few weeks ago, and but he's never been given the opportunity in the NBA. Why, I don't understand, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, he's still the only one still active.
Yeah, and 3 of them played in the NBA, right? And
yeah, all 5 of them should have been NBA players. I mean, Canyon played in the G League, and my son Scooter was the last cut by the Boston Celtics. And Larry Bird and Kevin McHale both told me, said, Rick, your son should have made our team. He was better than our #1 draft pick, but they had back then only 12-man rosters, and the Celtics had 13 no-cut contracts, so there was no room for him. So he wound up going overseas, and he played overseas until he was 40 years old.
Wow, that's nice. I saw some of Canyon highlights in the G League. He's pretty good, and like a great playmaker. And
no, he's just a really good, smart player. I mean, he's stupid smart. I mean, he's got his master's in nuclear engineering. He's never had a B in his life. He's a 40% three-point shooter. He's an 85 to 90% free throw shooter. He understands how to play the game. And it's very difficult when you're playing on a team in the G League and you have players coming down who are two-way guys, and your stats are better than them. And they've got some guys on their main roster who are shooting 26, 28% from three-point range, making $5 million a year, and they won't even give you a chance.
and like were always passionate about basketball like you, because you talk about basketball with such a passion. And like, what is like to being a dad of 5 basketball players? Like, you could play a team, and you were
Yeah, well,
still.
is that my whole thing is that I was hoping that it'd be nice if one of my kids was good enough to play, and the odds on having 5 boys all get Division I college basketball scholarship and all 5 having played professionally is, the odds on that are just ridiculous. I mean, it's probably the most. I don't know if there's another family in any sport that's ever had something like that happen.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Not the numbers. You've had some great ones. You had the 3 Mannings in football, which is pretty good. You had the Alous in baseball, but never 5 children of a Hall of Fame player in a sport all to play professionally. I mean, it's crazy. The odds on that are just crazy.
Which players were you closest when you played, and do you still talk to teammates? You said that you were talking
teammates, with. Yeah. Clifford Ray is my dearest friend, but I'm in touch with, I correspond and do stuff, Jamal Wilkes and George Johnson and Butch Beard, and I've lost a lot of my teammates. 2 of them died in their 40s, when Phil Smith and Derek Dickey, which is so sad. But yeah, and the other ones have passed away as well. So, but yeah, I still keep in touch with my teammates. As far as the other teams go, I didn't really have any real close friends on players on other teams, because I was out there to beat you. I didn't want to be your friend. I wanted to kick your ass.
They were the enemy, right?
And there's guys that I liked and all. Like, I mean, I still have a nice relationship with Jerry West and
nice
a bunch of players that I respect a lot of the players and do with that, but I didn't really have a close relationship with players from other teams.
Nice. And now I have a few questions for you about the league in the past and the present. I will start with the past. And which player was your idol and inspiration to become a basketball player?
Elgin Baylor.
Elgin Baylor. Did you manage to play against him?
Well, yeah, I just told somebody earlier today, I said it was pretty incredible. When I was, as a rookie, we played exhibition games against the Lakers, and I was out there and I'm guarding my boyhood hero. I mean, it was like I had to pinch myself. I said, this is crazy.
That's the dream, right?
Pretty amazing, yeah.
Who were the 3 best players you played with?
Well, Nate Thurman, Calvin Murphy, and Moses Malone, because all 3 of them were became Hall of Fame basketball players. So those would be the top 3 guys. As far as skill level is concerned, I had other players who were really good that I had on my teams, but I'd have to pick them because of what they accomplished. I mean, 3 Hall of Famers, so it's pretty hard to pick anybody if they were a Hall of Famer or somebody above them. And then, well, Jamal Wilkes too, who became a Hall of Famer, so he's right up there as well with Calvin and them. And he was only a rookie when he played for us, and to have a rookie play as well as he did, he was an integral part of the success that we had. And it came from such great pedigree from the UCLA program. So I'd have to throw him in there. I couldn't just say 3. I mean, any player you play with who became a Hall of Famer, it's got to be in the list.
Yes, for sure. And who were the 3 best you played against?
I can't even. That's so crazy. Well, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I played against so many great players. It's nuts. I mean, at the top of the list for me would have to be, Wilt Chamberlain, because I think he's the greatest center to ever play the game. I played against Bird. I played, against Magic as rookies. They were rookies. Then start naming all kinds of great players. I played against Bill Russell. I mean, the guy most responsible for helping a team win multiple championships, not a better all-around center than Wilt Chamberlain, but certainly, one of the most amazing, successful centers in the history of the game. So I played against all those guys. I played against Willis Reed. I played against Earl Monroe. I played against Walt Frazier. I played against Pistol Pete Maravich. I played against so many great players.
Just Hall of Famers you were mentioning.
Well, tiny. Top 50 players are all the ones you're talking about too. Chet Walker and Tiny Archibald, and I mean, you could just keep going down the list of these guys that I got to play against. John Havlicek. I mean, it's Dave Cowens. I mean, just go on and on and on.
And crazy amount of talent, right?
Yeah, I mean, the NBA's always had so much talent. And I got to play against so many great players, and played in 3 different decades, 60s, 70s, and finished up in 80.
And what's the best team you played against?
Well, I played against some of those great Boston Celtic teams, and then also played against the 76ers, 66, 67, 76ers, that a lot of people pick as one of the greatest teams. And I played, yeah, no, I didn't play against the great Showtime teams, Lakers, although, Magic had a great first year doing that. But I would have to say probably the Sixers team and the Celtics
were the best ones, right? And what's your favorite performance in your whole career? Is that the 90 rebound one? 90 assists, sorry.
No, I don't know. It's hard to say. I didn't care about my individual performance. I only cared about winning, so I mean, one of the best things that I did probably was the game that I stunk in for like 3.5 quarters of the game. But I played really well in the last 7 minutes of the game to help win Game 7 against the Chicago Bulls to go to the finals. My teammates did a great job of keeping us close enough to do it, and I finally played well in the last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter to win that game. So, yeah, that was, I would have to say that's probably one game, because if I didn't come back and play that well, we don't get to the finals.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was not a great game for me. It was a great 7 minutes.
And now talking about the NBA in current days, say the first word that comes to your mind when I say the name of these players. LeBron James.
A man-child. I mean, he was ahead of it. There's never been somebody like him. He falls into the category of anomaly. There's never been a player his size that's done the things that he did. I saw him in high school, and when I saw him, I said, "Oh my God, this guy's going to be unbelievable."
This guy's a beast.
He has a lousy shot, and they took forever to fix it. I made a big stink about it, and they finally did it after about 3 years. It got him to be a better shooter, but he's never been a great shooter. Thank God for that, because they probably have to outlaw him, because he's just so big and strong and powerful. He's a pretty amazing guy.
And Ja Morant.
Exciting. Watch, pretty. I just saw a dunk he made the other day, a highlight. He drove in, got past this guy, had it here, switched to his left hand, and then still dunked it. And it's not like he's some 6'9" big monster guy. He's fun to watch.
And Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Amazing athlete for his size. I mean, the things that he does out there. I mean, he's just got to stop shooting 3-point shots, though, because he's not very good from out there. But and get to be a better free throw shooter, but he's just an incredible athlete. He reminds me probably of an Akeem Olajuwon type of player with, amazing, that for a guy his size to be able to run, do the stuff that he does. Yeah, he's pretty. And what I love, that sucker, when he puts that uniform on, he's going to give you everything he's got. He plays hard. I love that.
Luka Doncic.
Big surprise to me. I never expected him to be as good as he is. I mean, first of all, you look at it, he doesn't even look like he spends any time in the weight room at all. When he first came in the league, I mean, he had, flabby arms, yet he's a hell of a player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one, Stephen Curry.
My favorite player to watch.
He's
unbelievable. Greatest long distance shooter I've ever seen. And just so much fun to watch play, because he has such a great time, but truly just a remarkable shooter who made himself into a great basketball player. Love watching Steph play, and he has so much fun when he's playing. You just see how much he loves it.
And which current player has the most similar game to yours, in your opinion?
Not many of them, because most of these guys all do everything. They dribble the ball so damn much. There's not very many guys that actually do what I did, which is catch the ball and use my first dribble as a productive dribble. It's too much dribbling and too much one-on-one stuff for me today. I'm trying to think somebody my size who can do that. I don't know, a guy that's starting to show to do some more stuff. He's having a hell of a year this year. But he's got to learn to let the game come to him, not force too much. Is Jason Tatum, size-wise and doing stuff and all, but he's a nice player. He's really turning into something special. I like him a lot. Size-wise, though, You know, the guy that was most like me probably was Larry Bird. I mean, I was Larry Bird before Larry Bird. I mean, I didn't shoot the ball as well as he did from outside, but we were similar type of players who understood the game. I was probably more athletic than Bird, but he was bigger, you know, taller, bigger guy, but incredibly efficient. Just a great player, great player. But yeah, I would have to say today's game,
None really resembles.
There is nobody. I can't think of anybody that catches the ball on the wing, sees the way his guy is in that first dribble. I mean, it's dribble, back up, do fadeaways, all the other stuff is just, it's a different world that we play in. And you're just so much more effective if you just use your dribble effectively and efficiently. And now it's too much dribbling, because every time if you're dribbling the ball and your teammate runs to the basket because his man turned his head, how the hell do you get him the ball? You don't even have it in your hands. At least I had it in my hands, you know? So anyway, there's a lot of great players out there, a lot of guys that are super fun to watch. You mentioned, you know, a bunch of them that are really cool to watch. I like CP3 is fun to watch and do it. There's just a lot of guys out there that are fun to watch play the game.
And would you dominate the league nowadays, you think?
Who's that?
Would you dominate the league nowadays with your
dominate? Well, nobody really dominates the league. I mean, I think if I was there, I'd certainly be one of the leading scorers. There's no question about it, because I would be a better free throw. I was a 33% 3-point shooter, but that wasn't part of. I didn't grow up with a 3-point shot.
Yes.
If I were playing today, I'd practice enough. I would not be happy if I wasn't at least a 40% 3-point shooter.
You would.
And I'm still going to be one of the best free throw shooters. And I'm still going to be able to get to the basket and run the court and do the other things. I mean, people say I couldn't play today with these guys. I said, you're out of your mind. I said, do you understand how much better I'd be? We had nothing when I played. Nothing. We had no strength coach, no agility coach, no dietitian. We had nothing. And yet we were able to do what we did. If I played today, I'd be faster, stronger, quicker, more endurance, jump higher. I'd be so much better a basketball player today if I played, because the sophistication of the training for all sports. That's why you're seeing so many amazing things going on, because they've broken it down. I mean, now you used to go lift, right? Well, now you lift according to what position you play and what sport you play, what position. Everything is totally and completely geared towards helping make you the most efficient and the best possible physical specimen you can be to play your sport.
Yeah, it's very, it evolved a lot, right? You know.
Yeah, it's like everything else. I mean, just the same way. I mean, come on. When I was a kid growing up, you wouldn't even know, you weren't even born. I mean, right? You used to have to move these little wire things on the top of your TV that, you know, you hooked up, and to try to get a reception, you could hardly see the TV. You know, now what do they have? Smart TVs. I mean, 70, 85-inch TVs, and I mean, it's just crazy. So, and you know, computers and all the other stuff that's out there. I mean, just like that's what happens in life. Things change. Sometimes a lot of it's for the better, and a lot of times it's not so much for the better.
And which team will be the NBA champion this season?
If I knew that, I would lay a bet in Las Vegas. I have no idea.
In your opinion,
I wouldn't bet a penny on an NBA basketball game.
Why?
Because anything can happen. I mean, ours is a perfect example. Nobody thought we would do anything at all. Yeah. We swept the team in a 4-game series. Somebody would have made a lot of money if they bet on us in that series. So I have no idea who's going to win. I mean, I tell people, first of all, why even talk about it now? It's ridiculous. You got one fourth of the season has gone by, and you're going to ask me, I mean, how do I know who's going to be the champion? Talk to me in April when to see how the teams are playing, what the injury situation is. Then you can actually kind of make a guess, and even then, it's still a guess, you know, because you just don't know.
But Warriors are.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of sports. That's why you have to play the games.
But Warriors are a good contender, right?
No, they won't be unless some of their other younger people come through for them. They got to get some of the younger people to start playing a little bit better. Kaminga's got to come along. Moody's got to get to be better. Poole is doing a nice job, but he's got to be more consistent. They got to hope that Clay can play where he is. Steph is obviously playing out of his mind, you know, and Draymond, but Wiseman's got to come through for him. I don't think they have any chance to win it all if Wiseman doesn't start to do something for him and come back to help them. They got to get a little bit more size, and for whatever the reason is, their defense is horrible right now.
Well, that's
really bad at the start of the season. It was almost embarrassing. And you're not going to win a championship if you're not one of the better defensive teams. No team has won an NBA championship that wasn't one of the better defensive teams. You don't have to be the best one, but you got to be in the top 10, I say, at least.
Yes.
Preferably in the top 5.
And now I have a few quick questions for you to our audience know you better. So what's your favorite movie, Rick?
Oh, I have a lot of favorite movies. I'm looking forward to the new Avatar that is coming out. I mean, I love that 3D stuff and everything, but I'm a big movie buff. I love a lot of movies. There's been a lot of great movies out there. One of my favorite movies of all time is one that you maybe never even heard of, called The Shawshank Redemption. I love Morgan Freeman, and he's in that movie. It's really a good prison movie. Pretty amazing. But I love movies. I mean, I'm just a big movie one. I mean, I love the whole Star Trek stuff. I mean, oh my God, Star Wars. I mean, yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I loved a lot of Westerns. I love war movies. I love the movie Where Eagles Dare. It was a great war movie that I loved. Yeah, I'm a big time movie buff. I love good shows, good acting, and things of that nature. So I can't say just one movie. Would have to be what genre was it in. But yeah, I just big fan of all of the stuff that's out there. Getting a little crazy now with some of the stuff in the special effects. I mean, to the point of being almost absurd. Yeah. But the Avatar stuff was pretty special. That movie Avatar was really cool. I can't wait to see the next one.
And what's your favorite TV show?
Right now, I'm hooked up. The same thing. I love a lot of TV shows. My wife and I have always said I always was a big Tom Selleck fan, and so I remember him from Magnum PI, and then I loved him in the movie Quigley Down Under, and I saw Blue Bloods, which is it's this the 13th season, I think. Whoa. And I said, honey, why don't we try to start watching Blue Bloods? And so my wife and I absolutely love Blue Bloods right now. So we're overdosing on Blue Bloods. I mean, we watch 2-3 movie episodes every night. I think we're on season 8 or 9 already. And I really enjoy Blue Bloods. But there's a lot of shows that I've liked on TV. I mean, a lot. I love 24. I mean, that was really cool series that they had on TV. But yeah, I probably watch too much of that stuff. I mean, but I enjoy it. I love to escape. For me, it's escapism. I just like to get in there and watch that. I especially love it when the bad guys get it handed to them. I don't have any use whatsoever for bad people who do terrible things to other people. And so I always love it when the bad guys, they take care of the bad guys, because I don't have use for that.
And what's your favorite music artist?
I'm not a huge guy into the music world. I love a lot of different things in music. Depends upon the mood that I'm in. I mean, there's some of the classical stuff that I really enjoyed listening to sometimes, but I'm not somebody who can't wait to turn on the music and have music in the background. In fact, I hate it now that people bring music out onto the golf course. It drives me absolutely nuts when they bring music on the golf course. I don't think that's where music was meant to be played. But I love I love Adele. I mean, I think she's amazing. Whoa. I mean, she's got such an incredible voice. I mean, there's so many people. It's the same way. See, I love greatness, and I love people who are great and everything. So I followed a lot of music, but I'm not a big music listener. But more of the older stuff. I'm not big on the real noisy stuff now. I think as you get older, that kind of drives you nuts. All right. The rock. I've never been a hard rock fan, even when I was younger. I never really liked all of that stuff. So I appreciate people who are great at anything that they do in any walk of life. Same thing in the music industry. I mean, I love, I'm not a huge big country western, but I like some of the people there. In fact, I'm friend of Hootie and the Blowfish, and so I got to know Darius Rucker really well. Now he's become a country western star, and I went to a show. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Shania Twain, I enjoy her. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter to me who it is, what it is. Some I like better than others. Some I don't particularly like a lot of. I like even some of the things, like I always loved Funky Cold Medina, which is crazy. I always thought that was a cool song. It was fun. I mean, my whole thing is an entertainment. Like, here's my thing for movies. As if I was a movie critic, my thing would not be thumbs up, thumbs down, which is interesting. I don't care about the esoteric things. I don't care about all of the artistic beauty of this or that. My question is, if I had my money to do it over again, would I spend my money to go see this movie? And if it's a yes, then I give it a thumbs up.
Nice. And what's your favorite sport other than basketball?
Right now, fly fishing and pickleball.
And
Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the United States, maybe starting up in the world. I don't know if they're playing it in Brazil yet, but it's an awesome sport. And I've actually gotten pretty good at it. I've actually won world senior championships and U.S.
oh,
national championships and U.S. Open
congrats.
championships. So I've become a pretty darn good pickleball player in my old days. And I love fly fishing. As I told you, I'm going down to Manaus and flying out to the wilderness and out into the Amazon, and got to go out there and go fish for peacock bass.
Mm. And like now to finish our interview, I would like you to talk more about what you know about Brazil, right? And what have you ever come here, or is this your first time? What do
No,
you
I've been there once before at the Manaus and fished for peacock bass. But I have not been to, some of the bigger cities. I've been to some other countries, but my first trip there was to go peacock bass fishing a few years ago. So I really have not been into a lot of the other bigger cities and stuff in Brazil, but I do know about Brazil from basketball. I mean, also they drive you nuts. The fans are unbelievable. I mean, they bang on their drums for the entire game when they're there. I mean, they're crazy. Same thing in the soccer, right? Boom, 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 boom. They're the crazy fans. I mean, amazing. They same thing I remember with the basketball. They show up and they're beating on the drums and just going crazy at the games.
and you enjoy it when you came here for the first time?
I always enjoy any place that I go. I enjoy visiting different places. I enjoy different cultures. I think life is a series of adventures and experiences. And so anytime you have a chance to go to another country and experience what it's like, I think that's wonderful. And so I'm looking forward to getting back. The next thing is I want to go to Ecuador because I found that golden dorado. They got some great golden dorado fishing over there. So I want to try to get down there to do that. And I've got a good friend who's in Argentina. I did get a chance to go down to I was trying to think around when I was in college. We played some games down in South America, which was really kind of fun to do that, and that was pretty good. I was in let's see, I think it was Argentina, I think, that we went to do that.
Oh, nice.
I remember the cab drivers were nuts. I mean, these guys were passing people on curves in the mountains, scared me to death. It was very, very interesting because I was in Buenos Aires. But yeah, all of that stuff is great. I love it. I'm looking forward. I'm taking a cruise. I'm going to do a cruise and go down through the Panama Canal. So we're going to stop in some places doing that. So looking forward to that experience as well.
Well, very nice. I hope that your time here in Manaus will be good and you can catch a lot of fishes and enjoy.
That's the good thing. I want to be able to. I want to catch at least a 10 or more pound fish on a fly rod. I caught a 19-pounder on a bait casting rod when I was there the last time, and my phone went crazy and I never did get my picture. So I only have it still in my mind and my memory. And I want to get another one because they're beautiful fish. And so I just love fly fishing more so. So hopefully I'll be lucky enough to catch a big peacock bass on a fly rod. So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, I wish all of you people Feliz Navidad coming up for everybody, and wish you and your family and your friends all the best.
Thank you, Rick. It was an honor to speak with you. Can you leave a message to our fans, for our audience, that Warriors fans, they love you, and Warriors have one of the greatest fan bases here in Brazil. So leave a message for them.
Yeah, well, they got a lot of fans. I remember when I was I was on a safari in South Africa, and the people were nuts about the Warriors back down there as well. So they've garnered a lot of fans because it's a worldwide game now, and they've had such great success. So my biggest thing to everybody is just look at just what my father taught me. Make sure that you take great pride in everything you do. Give your best effort every time you do it. Never be afraid to fail, because failure is the quickest way to learn how to do something right. Everybody fails, so don't let it get you down. If you get knocked down, pick yourself back up, because it's really, when it comes down to whether you're going to be successful or not, it's all on you. Somebody else doesn't make you successful. You have to be willing to put the time and the effort forth, but find something you have a love and a passion for and apply yourself to it. Learn as much about it as you can, and you'll have a much greater chance of success, and you'll enjoy life a lot more because you'll get paid to do what you love to do, and that's not having a job.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Rick Barry, our legend here in our interview. I'm very happy to have talked to him. Thank you, Rick. I hope a good trip for you and a good end of year for you and your family.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Goodbye.